Okay.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of the PL Report. Sorry, we've been gone for a while. It's been a bit up and down for both of us. For mainly because I'm planning to move, and Ayush has been moving, and now he's acclimatizing to college. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a busy few weeks for both of us, and yeah, so we're back now, and we're hoping that we'll be more consistent from now. I don't want to make any guarantees because we've said this before that we'll try and be more consistent, and it hasn't worked, like due to circumstances. And so
We've missed a lot of PL action. I'm not
we
sure in the
have missed a
last.
lot of football. Yeah, we haven't discussed
No,
a lot of
like,
things. Yeah,
we have been watching it. We just haven't
yeah,
spoken
no,
about it.
missed like in the
Like
sense
don't
that
worry
as
about.
a podcast
Yeah.
we missed a lot of football. Like, yeah, the way you were implying it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
I don't think we spoke about Ronaldo's transfer to United in the last one. We thought it
yeah,
was going to happen to Man City, but
yeah,
then I
that's our last
remember.
discussion. I remember. Like
Yeah.
honestly, okay. So I would like to hear your thoughts because I've been talking about this Ronaldo thing quite a bit. So
All right.
yeah,
I think as of now, we all know what he was brought in for. He was brought in for the goals and the consistency and everything. Whether
yeah,
Manchester United play well week in or week out, it doesn't matter. Ronaldo will be there scoring. And to
hmm,
be very honest, even if it's a tap in, it still counts as the one goal. So
yeah,
it really doesn't matter if he scores 30 tap ins also and United go ahead in
hmm,
the league or in the Champions League.
hmm,
But they haven't gotten off to such a great start, which I thought they would with the assembled squad. Like
hmm,
I knew those. I'm going a bit off topic, but staying on Manchester United, I knew that Sancho won't blow up the second he joins the Premier League
yeah,
because it's a tough league, and like plus
yeah.
even if it wasn't a tough league, you take time to adjust and
It's
everything.
an
And
adaptation. Yes,
exactly, plus you know how ruthless the PL media is, so even that could be playing a mental
yes,
fact in his mind that he has to score or assist in the next
yeah.
game to be considered a good player or good signing.
Hmm.
Varane has been decent, so yeah, I think.
Varane has been excellent, dude. I've been watching Varane week in, week out.
Hmm.
He's barely puts a foot wrong, always in the right place. Like, yeah, you concede goals, and that's the thing. Like, it's a new unit.
Yeah,
It's going to take time to gel, and yeah, like it's going to take time to set things up. The biggest problem that this defense is going to face is the lack of a defensive midfielder. This defensive midfielder conundrum has been there for 4 years. Ronaldo will not get
mm,
rid of that problem for you. That's not what
for
Ronaldo can
sure.
do. And
I think
I'm
we,
first of all, I'm not as sold on Ronaldo. Like, if do you want to complete your point? Like, I thought it
yeah,
was
I
your turn.
think
No,
I'd just
sorry,
add
sorry.
to your point of the defensive midfielder that we both
Yeah,
know how much Declan Rice is needed in that midfield, and
yeah.
I would agree that, but I still think the right back problem is also there if you
Yes,
want to go
that
for
is
the league.
also an issue. Yes, like, but I think last game Van Bissaka actually played quite well in my opinion. I think against
See,
West
it's
Ham.
not that he's not a
Yeah,
good player. I think it's his
yeah,
consistency. Like the tackle he made against Club Brugge, if I'm not wrong, that's the team
yeah,
we played.
yeah. The red
Like
card. Yeah.
it,
No,
it
it was
was so
against
unnecessary.
what do you call it? Young boys.
Young
Yeah.
boys, sorry. Yeah. It was so unnecessary. Like
Well,
it
that's
was
his
the
playing
30th
style,
minute.
dude. You kind of have to accept that. Like, some games, it's going to happen. Like, I'm not saying get sent off 4 times a year, but
Yeah.
once in the, like, I think this is one of his first red cards that I've seen. So, like, the
Hmm.
way he plays, the ambition that he has in his tackling, one day or the other, that was going to result in red, and that just was the game. Like, that's some players, you have to accept that there are some flaws that are there. So, yeah, I understand that
Obviously.
United lost the game and everything, but that's not only down to Wan Bissaka. There's still, like, the manager is also like, there are still question marks over Solskjaer. Like, there is no denying that. Like,
Yeah,
they
I
don't generally
have to
start well
come to you
anyway.
that.
So,
I have to
like,
come to you for that point.
yeah,
That
okay. So,
like the uproar coming right now is that
yeah,
is also Solskjaer the right choice. Like they've gotten the squad they needed, like arguably
yeah,
apart from the defensive midfielder,
yeah,
they have everything they need.
yeah.
They've still managed to bottle 18 titles since he's got there, 18 cups and everything. Do you think, like,
Dude,
I know
okay,
it's usually the
I'll
other way
stop you
around,
there.
but
Like, honestly, just give me an answer to this. Like, why has this stat never been raised for Mauricio Pochettino? Why was this not raised for Jurgen Klopp when Jurgen Klopp was there at Liverpool, had barely won anything for? Well, he won the Europa League quite like quickly. I think he was in the final, or did they win? Like
but you have to
Pochettino never faced
understand.
that question. Like this is like 18 cups you participated in and haven't won, dude. There's a lot of managers at elite clubs who have had that situation. Okay, let's
I
not.
get that.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm not saying that I'm out
I
Oliver
know, no, I'm not saying you
Solskjaer.
are. Right? Like I just like that
I
that
just,
line of argument makes no sense to me. That's all.
oh yeah, I just have that one question where you took the
Yeah, yeah,
example of
yeah.
Pochettino and Klopp. Were they provided with the same budget as old gun Solskjaer? Do they have the same squad? You have to look
Well,
in that perspective also, that he
yeah,
spent 1
that's
billion
a fair
euros.
question to ask, but like the squad that Ole had before also was not great. Like it's not just that. Like that's the thing. You can't isolate individual points, right? Like I'm not like this is just how I believe and this is how I feel. Like there's a lot of things that you have to take in. There's a lot of context behind it. Like first of all, you have to ask where Manchester United were at the point that Ole came in. Okay,
Hmm.
and as a fan of the club, it looked really bad. It looked really weird. It looked really like the players were very disjointed and it felt very, there was a gap in what they want to do and what this club should have the ambition to do and what they were actually doing. Ole has bridged that gap quite a bit. Like, I'm not, the questions are fair to ask. You can fairly ask questions, but you can't suddenly expect, like, the season is not played by the end of September. That's the thing. It's only September. Let
That's a
us
fair point.
look at this season. Like, let us look at the season and look at what the situation is in Feb and March. If in Feb and March the situation is not great, he's still not been able to challenge for the title. They're out of the Champions League. They're already eliminated from the League Cup. So if all these things don't happen, and if the season is floundering, then the concept of sacking Ole and getting rid of the manager, that's when that question should come into play, not in September. Like this is you have to give a person time with this. A season is this is the thing with football. It's not 3 days or 4 weeks or in that's not the time period in which this game is played. The leagues are played at a period of 9 months. You have to always know. That is why even Arteta, like they've picked up results, but you should give him at least
Oh,
2-3 months of time in the season to see where is there a direction that the team is heading in. Like you have to have a more long-term view of this. And if you don't have that long-term view, like as a fan, okay, you're a fan, you have barely any expectation. Just don't be racist. That's your expectation as a fan. Like,
hmm.
don't be racist, don't be homophobic, don't be offensive. Like, that's the bare minimum that
Fair
you can
enough.
do as a fan, right? And so fans' expectations are not what clubs should be dictated by, anyways. The clubs, the people making the decisions, they have to look at a much more long-term process and then realize how to go about things and how to take the next step. So okay, let's go back to the Ronaldo thing because dude, this deifying of Ronaldo when he's come to Manchester United, the Instagram, the Twitter, the furor that like the media circus that has been created around it, it's horrible in my opinion. It's really bad. Like it's like it's basically like a pandemic. Like it's like every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, Manchester United Twitter was uploading something related to Ronaldo. Even if they're not, it's not just the Manchester United Twitter, like the Twitter as a whole. Like he's played 4 games, right? 3 or 4 games, whatever the number
Hmm.
is. And he
He's
scored
played three games, if I'm not.
three
Yeah,
goals, 3 games and 4 goals, right?
4 goals.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, fine. He's played 3 games, he scored 4 goals. What were the teams that he was playing against? Can we calm down? Can we not anoint him a success or a failure already? Same with this guy and same with the Parisian one. Okay. Please stop like making decisions based on 4 games. It's 4 games, 3, 4 games. Like, what is going on? Like, and another thing that I have a problem with the Ronaldo discussion is the rape allegations against him. Like, with a person
Oh,
with such a
damn.
checkered history, like there is such a problem here, an isolated incident that's such a problem. And you are like, people are like, even the way the manager is talking about him, like he's such a great human being and stuff like that. Dude, like just because you were able to find a loophole around the thing, I'm not saying he did it, I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's an
that's the
allegation,
only
okay?
reason why I haven't spoken about it anywhere, because we don't know what actually happened. So
No,
I'm
I'm
not
not going to
commenting how
pretend it
great of
happened,
it.
whether it happened or whether I know it happened or it didn't happen, but at least address the fact that this is in his past. Let's not at least just completely blind it, okay? Let's not
Hmm.
pretend that that does not exist. Like, Ronaldo will try to hide it, fair enough, because it's disparaging to his reputation and there's a lot of money for a lot of people at stake. But at
Hmm.
least give context to the situation. Like a lot of podcasts and people who have been discussing this, at least give that information. Like, give that important. Like, you have to. I am not saying whether he did it or not. That is not none
Hmm.
of my business, and there is no way for me to know. But at least let's address the elephant in the room. At least address it, because like if imagine if something like that had happened with me, which is basically like almost all women in the world. Like there is at least a
Hmm.
45% population who has faced some form of the other of some sort of abuse or some sort of incident like this.
Pretty
They
sure
face
it's
something
more, but yeah.
like no 45% of the population in terms of like popular of the human population, because
Oh,
like
all right. Yeah.
50-50,
Then
right?
it makes
So
sense.
yeah.
Hmm. Fair
So
enough.
yeah. So like that's just a safety number I've taken. I would have said 50%, but like
Hmm.
there might be a few lucky women who haven't had something like that happen to them. But like how would they feel like if somebody like this, you have completely just steamrolled over this heinous accusation that is against you? I'm not saying don't think of him as the great player that he is. Like,
Yeah.
kind of try and be what it was with Kobe. Like, contextualize it. Talk about the fact that he went through this. Like, let people know, because there is a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people who did not know that this was there in his past. Like, I did not know for a long time, dude. Like, and I'm a fan of the club that he's currently playing for. And I mean, it must be so disheartening, dude. Like for somebody who's gone through
Hmm.
this, like it would feel like that. Like I don't know, I'm projecting, obviously, but like there's a lack of inclusion when you don't discuss this. Like you don't want to like. It feels like some people's voices are being trampled and trodden upon, and you just feel like the game that you love doesn't love you back, and that's the worst thing to be, right? Like the game doesn't want you, the game doesn't want you to be a part of it, and that's the opposite of what this sport is all about. It's about as many people who enjoy the sport, let us get together and enjoy it together. Like isn't that what the fans are about in the stadium? And there is 70,000 or 60,000 or 50,000, the stadiums are full and the people are screaming, and like from the TV we are able to feel that feeling, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
it's about,
Makes sense.
right? So
Yeah. I've
that's why
always had
I
the
just thought we need
ideology.
to address this at least, like
Oh,
if
for
nothing
sure.
else. That's all.
I've always had the ideology. If you're idolizing Ronaldo, I'd say idolize his work ethic and on the pitch
Yeah,
behavior.
yeah,
I
yeah,
won't exactly
exactly.
go off to his off.
Give context to the man. Like everything about him
Exactly.
is who he is. Not you can't just ignore parts of his life just because they don't fit your narrative.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the Premier League
Yes,
now
let's actually
for
get
what
into
we're
the
here.
Premier League and let's talk about it. Yeah, go. Okay, which team do you want
Now,
to talk about first?
do you want to talk about teams or do you want to talk about the two matches that happened last week that I wanted to talk about
Yeah,
first?
let's talk game wise then. Okay, by Manchester
All
United,
right.
we're not going to discuss too much now, unless you want to discuss Jesse Lingard for a bit. Otherwise, I don't know what else we have to really.
We just have a small, what do you say, leeway to Jesse Lingard. I don't
Yeah,
think he's staying next season the way he's playing,
he
like
should
even on
like
his office. He shouldn't. Yeah, fair enough.
well, honestly, like he could easily get into like 12, 13 Premier League teams easily. He'll be in the starting level, like no doubt about it. Like
Exactly.
like
And he's a player that many clubs need, unlike Manchester
yeah,
United.
yeah,
They
but
already have
there
Bruno
is a
Fernandes.
breed of player that still exists, I believe, that will live. Like they want to be involved with this club and they want to win things with this club, and that's the thing. Like when you are a championship level squad, when you're a Premier League capable of winning Premier League title squad, some players will be there who might have done better somewhere else, but they will
Hmm.
stick around because they want to win. The will to win is more important than them playing all the time and being in the team week in, week out. Jesse Lingard will get his opportunities. He will not play as much as he deserves to, but the fact
Yeah,
that he
fair
will
enough.
be at his boyhood club and be able to win makes me a bit skeptical whether he'll leave. But if I was Lingard and if it was about, I would be more selfish. I would I'm just
Yeah,
being
it
honest.
would
Yeah.
make sense,
I would
because
want to
like,
play, and I would because my love for the game is beyond my love for Manchester United. I love football and playing football too much. I'm imagining it's obviously I'm not.
exactly, I think that's a lot of
Yeah,
players' ideology. Like we know a lot of players who
and
support some other
it's
club
the
but are
best. Like
playing for
this
another
is your
top club.
livelihood also, dude. Like we forget that this is their livelihood. This is what like their families, and there is so much involved. Like there are so many stakes for them, and there is so much jeopardy in them if something goes wrong. Like you have
Hmm.
to get as much like money out of it as well. Like I'm always in for an athlete. Get the fucking money. Get as much money as you want. And I think like Lingard is getting paid well, but like you have a short time period to make your mark on this game. So if I was Jesse Lingard, I would have been like, I'm not going to lose another opportunity. I know I'm good enough. I'm going to go and show the world exactly how good I am. And which is
Yeah,
what he was
fair
doing
enough.
at West Ham. So
He did that.
yeah,
So
let's talk
yeah,
about the actual game now. So
how what were your opinions on the game? I quite liked it. It
it was a
was
good game to
complete
watch,
action
but
packed.
United still, again, there's a sense of disjointedness in it. The fact that they're getting results, even though they don't look great, is positive. That's a huge positive.
Hmm.
You need to sign. Sometimes you just need to grind out results by the time you figure out your combinations. And I think Marcus Rashford is something that they want back in their squad and back in their team, because I think Tony Martial is done. I think his Manchester United career is basically over. Like, I love Tony Martial. I am a big fan, but like, just for his sake and for the club's sake, I think just like
I
get
think they're ready to
you need
offload him also.
yes, just look for a just look to get out. Like, I feel like that makes the most sense now.
Yeah, I think he still has potential in anything. Like he's still young. He's still relatively 25 years old and
Yeah,
everything.
he's
I
not
don't think
a
I don't
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
I don't think he has a future at Manchester United though. Maybe at
Hmm.
any other top club, maybe he could be rejuvenized and everything, and he could have a what do
Yeah.
you say, a revival of something of a career, but not your like his dribbling is top notch. You can't take
Hmm.
that away from him. He's just out of form, and that's fair. And I don't think he's going to get enough chances to get in form at Manchester
Hmm.
United also. Because
Yeah.
playing once in 2 months won't exactly bring you back in form. Same thing goes for Donny Van de
Yeah,
Beek and
that's true.
everything.
Yeah, but Van de Beek actually was pretty good in that West Ham game. I thought
Yeah, I
I
watched
thought he was pretty good. Like, the Greenwood chance was
I
all Van de Beek. Like, that was a great pass. Like, I think Van de Beek
you're
can
talking
still
about
be
the
an important part of this team. But
you're talking about the EFL Cup, right?
yeah, I'm talking about the EFL Cup game.
Yeah,
No,
he played
I'm
well
just
there.
because we are discussing those players. That's why I'm referring to that game. I want to talk about the
Oh yeah,
Premier League game
for
only
sure,
mainly. But yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I think the one criticism that I might have for West Ham is that I've seen quite a few times is that when they played the game and they scored the goal, their
Hmm.
energy levels completely dropped, and they let Manchester United get back in the game very easily. Like Manchester
Yeah, I
United
guess so.
equalized
Well, it
within
was
five six
like
minutes.
in this particular game, like the squads are there's a difference between the squads, and I thought West Ham held out pretty well, and like Manchester United looked better than the Wolves game, for example. The Wolves game, they were absolutely second
Oh
best
yeah,
for that game,
I think
and
De
they look
Gea
better
saved them
here.
and Van Bissaka saved them a lot of times in that game against
Yeah,
Wolves.
even against
Hmm.
West Ham, also Van Bissaka had a great block. I think Varane and Van Bissaka were there together, and they
Oh
had a
yeah,
great block.
no, but like
And the
Manchester
penalty.
United as a unit also performed well, unlike the Wolves game where it was
Oh yeah,
more
they
individual
weren't great.
performances.
Like, they were better. Like, I would say,
Yeah, they
and
were
they
better.
were lucky as well, because of the penalty and everything. Like, that could have gone really badly, and they would have dropped points from an almost like
Oh
from
yeah,
a
I would
lucky
have
position.
never
Like,
thought De Gea was gonna save a
oh
penalty.
no,
Like
no, I was not
seeing
expecting it
his
at all.
track record, I
Oh
wouldn't bet
yeah,
my life on him saving that. It's just not
yeah.
there.
Well, yeah,
But yeah,
honestly, I think saving a penalty, like, there's a lot of luck involved, so you can have bad luck
yeah,
for a
that's
long time.
there.
And it's not his strong suit. Like, he's had an excellent season so far. Like, he's been.
Yeah,
I think he's actually been United's best player till now. If you really ask me, like, I think Pogba might rival him, but I
that's a
think
good
De
shout.
Gea is in the list for the best player that United have had this season. Like, Varane, I think, would be a good rival as well. Like, Varane has had a good team. Like, that's the thing. Individual performances have been pretty good, but the thing is that the
Hmm.
unit is a bit disjointed till now. I think they'll need a bit more time, like, to get used to Ronaldo and try and figure. Like, Ole is also a bit like off the fly kind of a manager, also, right? Like, he doesn't have tactical nous, and he's not got a playing philosophy that he wants to employ. So I think that's why they will take time to
Well,
figure
yeah.
these things out if it's going to
Well,
work.
I
Yeah.
agree with you, and I think I might have missed to address this point. You said before they've been grinding out results, and that's the
Hmm.
difference between top four contenders and title contenders.
Hmm.
Title contenders know how to grind out results. Like even if Man City might not have been the best team each and every game when they get 98 points, they
Hmm.
still grinded out results. Like
Hmm.
especially that company goal they got against Leicester
Yeah, the
City,
Leicester one.
which
Yeah.
won them the league. Exactly. Like it
Yeah.
was nil-nil, but it's a bit of luck and grinding out the results that
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
Talking about Manchester City,
Yeah. Go ahead.
they've like I think Ferran Torres is being reinvigorated as a striker. If
Yeah,
I'm
we've
not wrong,
talked
that's
about
what I
this a
read.
bit. Like, Ferran Torres was looking very interesting, and that, like,
He is
I
looking
think Sterling
interesting.
also they'll try and use in that role. I have a feeling. So
I think
yeah,
the
they've already
good
done
thing
it. I
is
think a
that
couple of times. Have you
Yeah, but
watched a
I
lot
don't
of City
think
games this year? I have barely watched Manchester City play.
I've watched a few. I didn't watch the
Okay.
Champions League game, which I watched the highlights and everything. They were good in that game, but like the
Hmm.
defensive problems they had, and
Yeah.
I really like Gabriel Jesus this season. Whenever
Yeah,
I've
we've
seen
talked
him
about
play,
this.
he's
Like
been
you
amazing.
weren't very sold on it. Like I told you, he can become that right winger thing. That they are looking at
I
him as an
wasn't
actual genuine
sold
option. Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
but I can see him now. He's giving Mahrez a run for his money. I've
Yeah.
barely seen Mahrez start because of him.
Yeah.
He's been exceptional,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
actually
that's
a
the
good
thing.
thing
Like,
because he's
okay, we're talking about the biggest difference between Gabriel Jesus and almost anybody on that pitch, like in the who can play in that particular role, is right. Gabriel Jesus will run his socks off for you. That is the thing that I've always
oh
liked
yeah, for
about
sure.
Jesus. Like, he's so good at pressing. Like the numbers also, right? Dude, the attacking pressures that he creates, like the pressures that he's doing, like the amount of legwork that he's doing as an attacker, it is much higher than almost any other forward in like the number is quite ridiculous, like compared to any other Man City player. He's got like almost double the touches or something. I'm not 100. They don't take this as I'm not
Oh yeah, for
100% sure
sure.
on the
Like
number, but the number statistics suggest that Gabriel Jesus is very Firmino like. Like he'll do the running, he'll do the legwork, he'll put in that defensive shift for you. And even as an attacker, like he can get off the back of the defensive line and he can make in those runs. Like his runs aren't towards goal, they're more towards the wing where he can try and get in, and he's got reasonable dribbling ability also. There's a lot of positives about Jesus, but the thing
yeah, I
is that
think
he's
dribbling
never
and
been a
passing
clear
is one
cut
of his strong
striker.
suits.
Like
Exactly.
he's more of a hybrid player, and I think that's what the thing is. You have to kind of play around with what you can do with Gabriel Jesus to find the perfect role and to find the perfect system. And that's what the Pep thing is. Like quite a lot of people were very hesitant on whether Pep Guardiola will figure out how to play with Cristiano Ronaldo. I think if Ronaldo had gone to Man City, I think Man City would have found a way, because I think Pep Guardiola is that good. He would have found a
I
player.
don't think they would have been stopped then. Like I think the only missing part they still have, like correct me if
Yeah,
I'm wrong, like they
it could have
might
gone
manage to win
disastrously
it.
long also, but I think like that is always a possibility. But I think
Yeah,
Pep would have
obviously.
figured something out how to implement Ronaldo in and around his team to get the best and maximize what they have. And when you have that group of players, the maximum that you could get out of it, like Man City would be Champions League favorites instantaneously.
Oh, obviously. And I think the only reason, like, even though they might win 2, 3 games 5-0, 6-0, and they'll absolutely
Hmm.
thrash their games. But
Hmm.
when it's not their day, they need a striker who can finish their
Yes, you
chances,
need
even
you
if they
need
create it.
to, yeah, like what
And
United
that's
got with Ronaldo. Ronaldo has basically like
exactly.
been Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes. Like I think Bruno Fernandes has been the better player since Ronaldo came in, but like yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah,
these
his
guys have been
passing has.
producing. Like they've been
They're
able to
working well
grind out
together.
results out of
Exactly.
nothing. Yeah, and
I'm really liking the link up between Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo. And like
yeah,
even Bruno's taken a back foot, like he doesn't want to
yeah,
always get in for
he's
goal and
dropped
everything.
deeper also. Like his positioning also has
Exactly.
gotten deeper. Yeah.
So I think yeah, like Man City still I don't see them as any favorites, not title, nor what you say Champions League with this squad.
Yeah,
I
I
think
would
without
put
the
them in the
striker.
top five at least Champions League.
Yeah.
I mean, like Premier League,
Oh
obviously
yeah, that
they are in second on the list or third max to max. But yeah,
yeah, I see them coming second in Premier League and Champions League also reaching till the semis
hmm.
at least. But I think it's the
Yeah,
final edge that they require. The final piece is still a
yeah. The
striker,
final, yeah, no,
which they
I
could
understand what you're like. Yeah, and I agree with
like
you there.
they
I think
can go
Jack
even
Grealish
with.
could still do that for them though, because he's been
Are
good.
you sure about that? He's been good, but
Well,
I still
that's the
don't
thing.
see
Like,
him
are you
completing
funny?
them.
Funnily enough, that's the thing with these games. Like with these things, like the difference maker games are few, right? Like these games
Yeah,
against like Leipzig also, I think they're just a better team than Leipzig, and Leipzig themselves are in a huge transition period. So Leipzig
yeah,
isn't
exactly.
exactly a benchmark team for them to figure out, oh, okay, this is what we can do this season. The benchmark games are going to come. And when those benchmark games come, that's when we will find out whether this Man City side is up for it and is going to be Premier League champions or not. So
I
Premier League
think they have
champions
a
and
game
Champions League
against
winners.
PSG right now. I think next week or this
Yeah,
week,
that would
Champions
be
League.
even that I'm
That
not for
should be an
100%
interesting
sure on a
game.
benchmark, because like I think Champions League
Oh yeah,
benchmarks
I don't
Champions League
think
benchmarks
PSG
will
are in
be
the
there
form.
on in the Champions League only, like when you play those teams at the L knockout levels.
Yeah, I
So
don't think PSG are at their best level right now, seeing
yeah,
how Messi
exactly.
is not
Yeah, that's kind of the
exactly.
point I was trying to come to, and I kind of lost track.
Yeah,
My bad.
makes sense.
Yeah, you're
Makes
right.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's talk for another team. I think we should just skip the matches and maybe
Yeah,
recover
let's
on the
just talk
subs
a
and
bit about the
everything.
team because we've got like 3-4
Yeah,
weeks of backlog. So let's just talk about the team. So
exactly. So
okay,
let's
let's
get
talk a
back to
bit about
Chelsea.
Chelsea. Honestly, I think Chelsea
Yeah,
we need to.
exactly. What are
Oh,
your thoughts? I'd like you to start. And oh my God, I've been
well,
impressed from what
Big
I've
Rom
seen.
has basically made this side impenetrable almost. Like I think Aston Villa in the League Cup was the last result where they actually kind of looked. I didn't watch the game. I was watching the United one instead. But
Same.
it's 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 a machine now. It's how do you destroy this thing? Like what's the? I think Tottenham had an answer for like 30 minutes. They didn't succeed at it. Like obviously, if it's a football team, there are ways to get at them. There is always going to be ways to get at a team. So that's not the problem here. But this team, when it's clicking and when it's working, how do you beat this? Like how? Like what's the flaw? What's the obvious flaw that a team can exploit? Like Man City also, at least I can find some particular things that I can point out. But with this Chelsea squad, like what exactly? Which is the weak point that you can spot and be like, okay, this is where I'm going to hit them.
You
They
know
didn't
what's
even
the
show that
best
against
thing about
Liverpool, dude. Like
Chelsea?
the Liverpool result was so big.
You know what's the best thing about Chelsea? I'm going to talk about the Liverpool result.
Yeah.
Even if Big Rom is having a bad game and he's being pocketed by Van Dijk or Ruben Dias or any strong centre back,
Hmm.
you can't break through the Chelsea defense. You can't go through Antonio Rudiger. You can't go through Thiago Silva when he's in form. You can't go through Christensen,
Hmm.
who's not been getting credit for the past 30 games. He's been insane.
Hmm.
And you just can't break that back three.
Yeah.
Like you saw that against Liverpool. They were a man down. They were defending for their lives, but
Exactly.
they made it
Exactly.
look so
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Like,
They held
okay,
on and
okay,
they were
look,
held on pretty well. And the funny
exactly.
thing is that I think now that they've got Saul in and now that they have that midfield, like the four is there,
Oh,
right?
don't get me started on that midfield four
That
moderate.
that
Like,
there is so much you can do with that. There is so many different ways you can go. Like the way they did, like the Timo Werner and Romelu Lukaku thing. That I think we've discussed this, right? Like I wanted them to
yeah.
play in tandem and in a combination. That thing becomes much easier to execute now that Saul is in the picture. Because if nothing else, if Kovacic, for example, gets injured, like Kante has been injured, you can fiddle around and still play three players. Like you can still play three. You still have three options. Like 3-4-3 is your normal setup, but for some particular
Yeah.
games when you're trying to do something specific, you can switch
They
to a
can go for a
3-5-2 as
first
well.
place.
You have that
Yeah.
flexibility to go for a 3-5-2, play the Conte thing. Like Mount, you can sometimes you can drop off, like or something like you can have a Kai Havertz
Yeah, I
try and
think
play a bit. Like you can do so much more with that. Now they have that flexibility there. Like and Kovacic has looked great. Like Kovacic has genuinely looked great. Like
I've
the
always liked him. It's his work rate and everything. It's just
yeah.
impeccable. You
Yeah,
can play
like
him
and
once in a month also,
his
and he'll put a man of the
ability to
match
pick a pass
performance.
is something that is very helpful to them now. Like because like Jorginho can spread the ball, but Jorginho can't is not incisive with the through balls and stuff like that. That's not the primary role. His primarily a part of
That's
his
not
game.
his job. Yeah,
He
fair
can
enough.
do something like that, but he's not the best at it. Kovacic is much better at that, like playing through the lines, especially with Lukaku there. And you talked about how Lukaku can't be Lukaku getting pocketed. Lukaku cannot be
Yeah,
pocketed because of Lukaku's link up play. Like if Lukaku is not
yeah,
able
that's
to
there.
get beyond the defender and not beat the defender, then he can drop back also. That's the flexible. That is the difference between this Romelu Lukaku and the Romelu Lukaku we've seen before. This Romelu
Yeah,
Lukaku can do almost everything you want him to do. Like remember
he's
the Arsenal game, the way he was linking up. That's the thing that was frustrating Arsenal the most because he was able to drop back a lot, and Pablo Mari did not know how to track this guy because he was so fluid and he was playing in so many different areas. So the versatility that Romelu Lukaku has brought to the table as a striker, this Chelsea team looks insane. Like even if the
I
games
think
he's not impacted by scoring, he is a great option to have, and he's doing really well for you. Go ahead.
I think Chelsea might actually beat or level their 15 goals conceded in a Premier League this season. They have a very good chance to do that
Yeah,
with how it's looking.
I have a
And I
feeling there's a
think the
freak result that will ruin that thing for them. Like there's a 3-1 or a
I don't
4-1
s-
or something like that, like where they lose.
I
And yeah,
I would have
like
seen
it
that
just
happening if
happens
West
nowadays.
Brom
It's
had
it's
stayed
it's
up.
harder to do in the Premier League anymore. Like the
Oh,
game is played very
obviously.
differently. Like there are teams that will attack and like you can have bad days. Like Like the Man City Centurions thing, that's such an impressive thing because the quality of the sides is much better now than it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. The
Fair
level
enough.
of the teams is much higher. So
Yeah, there.
actually pulling off something like the deep, like if they do it, they're basically one of the best teams of all time. Easily one of the
Yeah,
best teams
they'll
of all
go
time
up
in
with
the
the
Premier League.
greats for sure. Plus, their squad depth is ridiculous. Like City have
Yeah.
a squad depth, and then Chelsea have a squad depth too. Like I'm not sure which one's better if you like compare it
Yeah,
perfectly. And like
yeah. It's actually really hard. Like if you really
it's
think
like
about it,
you
I
can't
agree with you. Yeah.
differentiate.
Yeah.
Like of course, like Cities is there. Like Cities has been there for a while. Like Chelsea
Hmm.
recently got that squad depth. They didn't have it
Hmm.
under Lampard, or
Hmm.
even if they did, the players weren't as good as they are
Well,
have been
they didn't
under
realize
Tuchel.
what they had. That's the thing. That their loan
Exactly.
quartet, like the players that they send out on loan every year, there's a lot of talent. Look at Tammy Abraham right now.
Yeah, he's doing
He looks
well.
like the
He's
best
doing,
striker in Italy.
and the best part is Chelsea did what they did best and they put a buyback clause. They don't mind spending 80 million down the years if they
Yeah,
need
they
Tammy
both.
Abraham. But
I
they
think
get it.
sometimes like there's it's a limited sport, right? Like Chelsea has they can't offer Tammy Abraham. Like it's a best deal best for both parties. I thought like
Exactly.
he's not as good as Lukaku, right? Lukaku is basically one of
Yeah.
the best three forwards in the world. Like it's a fair thing to do. I think I don't begrudge Chelsea letting Tammy Abraham go because you have a limited amount of space in your team. Like you can
No,
only if you want the player to do his best and you want players to do the best for you, you have to sometimes have to choose one or the other. And in this case, Tammy Abraham had to make that choice and Chelsea had to make that choice. So I
fair
think
enough.
that's
Fair
fair
enough.
enough. I think sometimes it's just not meant to be. Like Jesse Lingard, for example, at Manchester United, I felt it was always felt it was not meant to be. Martial at Manchester
Hmm.
United, I think now I feel it's not meant to be.
Yeah, after
Player, right
Ronaldo's
player,
arrival and
the player
everything.
at the timing, the context just doesn't work after a point. Like Marcus
Fair
Rashford is
enough.
the opposite, right player at exactly the right time. The day he came in is the day he was needed to be that rejuvenating force that that club needed. And
Hmm.
he's just built on his career from there and there and there. And now he's basically one of the most popular people in the world and one of the most respected people in the world. So
Yes. Let's move on from Chelsea. I think we all are in agreement that they're
let's talk about
miles.
Liverpool. Let's
Yeah.
go to my favorite manager and let's go to the best team to watch. Like even the Crystal Palace game, dude. Did you watch the Crystal Palace game?
No, I missed that game. But
It was it was really good to watch because like the fun thing about it was Crystal Palace were really good. And the result is a very flattering result for Liverpool. It's not a 3-0. Crystal Palace did not deserve to lose that game 3-0.
see, this is the thing that's pissing me off the most right now. Last year, Premier League, I used to watch each and every game I could. But
Yeah.
now they're playing 4 to 5 games at the same time. How am I supposed to watch
No,
all
but
of
that's
them
a very
together?
fair thing to do, honestly. That's the thing, Ayush. Like you don't have to restrict yourself to just Premier League football. At that time, watch Bundesliga. Bundesliga best fixtures actually they turn up at 3 on a Saturday. Like that's what I started doing. I'm trying to follow Bayer Leverkusen more because I
No, but
watched
it's
one game.
not that. It's the
Insane.
7:30 fixture for me, which is 5 matches of the top teams that I can't
Yeah,
watch
I
at
know.
the
No,
same time.
that's the. I'm in Dublin, right? So forgive me for the mistake there. The 7:30 thing is 3 o'clock for me. So
Oh, all right, all right.
the timing is the same. The timing is exactly the same.
Okay.
We are talking about the same fixtures, the different time zones. So that the thing with that is you have to like it's very important for that thing to exist also. And I don't like the fact that you have to watch all 10 games of the season. Like you pick and choose like the fact that it puts a load off you because otherwise it becomes a
It's
chore after
not
a
that,
point.
yeah, it's
Like
not
I
that you
understand
have to watch all
you
10
want to watch
games.
all the games, but it's not healthy for you to be watching all the games anyways. Like maybe watch
I
something
get
else, watch
that.
some other things. Like it's a I don't mind that being the way it's being telecasted. Like the during the pandemic, because it used to be a huge headache. Like you're basically watching football all the time, and that's not
And
something.
I see, that's the thing. That's the
Yeah,
thing. You can have the option to not watch, right? Right now, I
yeah,
can't have the option. Like, even if you have 10 games throughout the day, you have the option to watch 2 or 3. I don't have that option anymore. I can only watch 2 to 3 because 5 are taking at one place. Okay, fine. Maybe I can
dude,
put one on my
dude,
laptop
your
and
complaint is such a like it's such an you'll realize because in England, in UK, for me, I only have the option of the one game out of the five to watch, and in the UK, you don't even have that option. Saturday 3 o'clock is the blackout time. You're not supposed to be telecasting games on air at in that time slot because they want you to go and watch local teams and actually go out and do, like, there is this, the blackout ruling is there. So
All
you
right.
actually have the option of watching all 5 games, which I don't. I have to choose the one that they're telecasting on Premier Sports. I have just one game to watch. That is why I was watching Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. But that's the game they gave me to watch. So,
Fair enough.
and I personally agree. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, you don't have to, like, if you can't watch 5 games at that time, like, so you can pick and choose one of the 5. Like, you pick and choose, okay, this week I'll watch Liverpool, this week I'll watch Chelsea. Like, you don't have to, like, keep up with the Arsenal game because that's the club you support. But like,
Yeah,
watching
that's what
all
I
the
have to
games,
do.
because it's a long season, so you have to pace yourself. Like, right now you can be excited, and I think that's the difference between us. You're still like 18, 19, like you're
Yeah,
still
maybe
young.
it's the I
That's a huge
barely
factor
watched
because I've
football
been
for 3-4 years.
I've been involved in this for a longer time than you have, right? Like, been watching every day
Exactly,
and
exactly.
understanding, and like, because your brain grows up as you grow up as well, right? So after a certain point, I personally feel really glad that this thing exists, that they play 5 games at a time, so that my whole day is not just watching football. I can do other things. I can, like, the load is not as much, and I don't have to, like, I don't watch that much football anyways. Like, I'll watch, if I feel like it, I watch, because last year though I couldn't watch because there was no fans and it was really irritating to watch sometimes. But
Hmm.
now I watch like 4 or 5 games a weekend, and I'm pretty happy because I'm watching it, and then I'm actually able to infer information from it and try and understand something from it. So
Fair enough, fair enough.
yeah,
Getting back to Liverpool now,
yeah,
I think Van Dijk was the key for them being title contenders. Like, I don't see them like maybe they might
yeah.
fall apart
He
if
has
like they
been.
have a few injuries, like everything. Like if Sadio Mane has been in form, if he drops out or something,
Hmm.
or a Salah gets injured, I think
Yeah,
they
the
might be
squad
out of the
rotation
race.
thing is always going to be an issue with this Liverpool squad.
Exactly.
But
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't see them making it through the end with the same squad. I can see a lot of injuries coming in. I don't
yeah,
see
but I think the
Keita
rotation
sustaining,
pieces that they had, like, Harvey Elliott looked really good before the injury. I think
but
that's the
he's
thing.
also
Like,
injured now. That's the
they
point,
have
right?
they had plans. Like, they had, like, last year was such an anomaly because, like, everything got fucked for them. They lost so
Oh
many
yeah,
players due to injury, and it was so inconsistent. So I think this year, even like a couple of injuries they can deal with. But the thing is, yeah, like the Van Dijk
it's
injury or
the
something like
couple
that.
of injuries for the title
Well,
game. Nah, I'm not.
every team has that, right? Tell me one thing that will be able to live without, like, if Kevin De Bruyne, if he's gone for like 6 months suddenly, and if I tell you that Ruben Diaz is also gone for 6 months, this Man City team will not look the same. They might be able to figure it out. I'm not going to say that they won't be able to figure it out, but if, like, there's a lot of psychological mentality. There's a lot of things going on with these injuries. So I think last year the Liverpool thing, yeah, it was an anomaly. It was a freak incident, I think. So that is why I think taking it too much as Liverpool having a problem with squad depth and something like that, I think it's a bit too. And Konate, I thought, looked pretty good. So they've gotten a
Yeah,
reasonable
he's
signing
also
there.
been decent,
They'll
but
blend it. Yeah,
it's his injury track record also, right?
yeah,
Like
that
he
is like
can't
the
be playing all.
Navigator thing. Like,
Yeah,
they've already
exactly.
had a player that they've had to deal with. That Navigator now, I think now he's finally gotten his rhythm. He's finally getting momentum.
He's
I think we can
yeah.
see a lot. I can see a lot of positives coming from Navigator also. So there's a lot of
Hmm.
players in the squad. We don't realize there's a lot of options. There's still a lot of flexibility. It just last year makes us think, and you think there is a fragility, and there is a fragility, but it's not as bad as some people believe it is.
Yeah, I mean it's not gonna like completely take them off to 10th or something. I still very much think they'll be in the top four race. I think
No,
it's
no,
just
no.
that.
The top four is not their game. They want to be title challengers.
Oh yeah,
This is the peak of their squad. Like, this
oh
squad is
I
only
get
the
that.
next couple of years. This is only going to get worse unless you reinforce. Okay, so
I obviously
take
agree
advantage
there.
of that. Like, yeah.
I just think that the
Hmm.
only problem is that Man City and Chelsea have more depth. They're also in
Yes,
the
yes,
almost
yes.
same hot
Yeah, they
run
are
form.
playing against two insane squads, which, like,
Exactly.
Liverpool
It's
doesn't
not
have the money to make that squad. Like, you just don't have the money, or you don't have the right pieces in place to actually warrant that kind of a squad. It just can't happen. Like for
fair enough.
Manchester United can't get rotation players in every position at the level that Chelsea and Man City have, because first of all, the owners won't do it. Second of all, your current manager doesn't warrant that kind of pedigree that people will go and be second option and be like, yeah, I'm satisfied with this because this guy knows what he's doing. That's not the case with Ole. That's not the case. He's not Pep. He is not Pochettino. He is not Klopp, and he's not Tuchel. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's one of the few pointers from Liverpool. Do you want to talk
yeah.
about Arsenal next or Spurs? I mean,
Okay. Let's go a bit off the. Let's talk about our Leicester honestly, because
fair
they
enough.
don't look great. They don't look
They
great,
don't.
do they?
Nope.
Like
And I
I was
think
expecting
if
them to challenge for top four and them having. I think
oh,
it's
I'm not sure about that because Madison has been out of
no,
form.
no. Now I don't like. I'm talking about like the last time we were discussing these things. I thought Leicester could
Oh, all
be.
right. Like, is that after the FA Cup or FA Community Shield where they won
Yeah,
against
when
Man City?
they were starting, the squad looked good. They had made some
Hmm.
interesting, brought in some interesting players, and like the typical Leicester City way of finding gems un, uh,
In the transfer market and
in the
scouting
transfer
system. Yeah,
market
fair
and
enough.
like whatever strategy they have. Like
It's worked for a while. Yeah, fair enough. I just think that this side are firstly missing Wesley Fofana. That's there. And then
Mhm.
they're missing James Justin. He's also there. Like, they're missing a
Mhm.
lot of players right now also.
Yeah,
But like, I think that's the thing about Leicester. They've coped up with the players they've missed in the last 2 years, right?
yeah, that's
Like,
the
they
thing. Like
might
they
have
have
had.
a lot of options in that squad, and no, I think the problem here in this particular case, it's not even just injuries. I believe that there is like Brendan Rodgers has that tendency to kind of like managers have cycles, right? Like I
Yeah.
think the Leicester team, this particular version of this team under Rodgers, I think they kind of peaked last year, and then the second time that gut punch of not being able to make the Champions League, I think that has affected them. There's a psychological factor here as well.
Is this like Jose Mourinho's third year for Leicester?
Not really. It's more like you're as a team. Okay, this team has not been top. They don't have the experience of being top level challengers like the way the top four clubs or the top six clubs have. Right? They've been
Hmm.
contesting and they've been competing for Champions League football each and every year, in and out. So like the club has a culture of it. Leicester is still trying to define that culture. So there are going to be hiccups. Like it's not going to be a smooth process and it's not going to be a quick process. It's going to take time. You're going to have step backs. You're going to have to figure out, okay, these are the mistakes that you make and these are the things that you have to figure out. Like the club as a whole, to reach that kind of top six status, they'll have to go through their growing pains. And this, I think, is one of those. So I think something like this you can expect. Like Wolves had that, right? They really sped up. They were doing really, really, really well. And then after a certain point, they just fell flat because things happened, situations change, context there is always there. And then you take a step back. Like it's like two steps forward, one step back. You have to have those pains and you have to go through these things to ensure that you are going to be like to go beyond what they've been. You have to
Fair enough.
experience the good and the bad. It's more like that, I think.
I just have this one thing. So, like, I'm not sure how many people remember and stuff for the watchers. In the last final few months of the Premier League, Kelechi Iheanacho was an absolute fire. He was unstoppable. Why is he not being played now? I can barely see him making it to the lineups or even coming off as a substitute, and he's not made any impact. It's like
Maybe he's not fit. Maybe like there could be 1,000 different reasons
could
for why
be,
he's not being picked.
but he's on the bench, right? Like
Yeah.
either he
Yeah,
has a
no, but he
similar
maybe might
situation
not
to
be fit enough
Kante.
to play full games, or
Yeah,
he's
could
not been
be.
training well or something. Like there could be a lot of things that are going on in the background. That's the thing.
Because I think that player had some good potential from the last
Oh
season
yeah,
when he showed
definitely.
it.
Inacho looked great last year. Like
Exactly. In the second half of the
basically, like
season, he was
like the way
unstoppable.
Mikhail Antonio is right now, like the hottest name in FPL markets and stuff like that.
Oh
I think
my God,
Inacho was
that
that for a while last year, wasn't he? Like the guy who couldn't stop scoring. Him and Joe Willock, like
yeah,
and
those were the two
Lingard and all
consistent.
these guys. Like he was in that level
Yeah,
of player, like players who were dictating games and changing games. He's
yeah, I
not doing
remember that
that
time.
clearly. So there is something
Exactly,
going
that's
on.
something
That's the
that's
thing.
missing
It's
for
still
Leicester
September. Let's
also.
let's wait. Let's see how this evolves. Let's see how this goes. Maybe Leicester are able to find their formula and find. That's the thing. Like every season and a new season, you have to. It's a new challenge. You have to figure out how to deal with each game, and it's always a process.
Maybe,
It's not, you're not starting from where you left off the previous season. You're actually starting from a new season. Like that's the thing. So there's a
yeah,
reset
that's a
there.
good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe this
So
is a good thing in hindsight, like unlike the
yeah.
last two seasons where Leicester started off on a good start and ended on a
Hmm.
bad start. Maybe they could start off on
Maybe
a
they
bad start and end
yeah
on a good. Exactly.
yeah
They can
They're
gain
trying
their
to figure
momentum
something
throughout
out
the
and be
season.
more of a like grind out games more, because I think Leicester, when they're good, but when the plan kind of fails, they've fallen flat on their face, and we've seen them fall flat on their face multiple times in the last couple of years because they have not been able to make Champions League from positions they should have. So yeah,
Fair enough.
that's the thing. Like you have to give these things a season. And okay,
Moving on to the next team, which everyone
yeah.
had been skeptical of last season, but
Hmm.
I still thought they were much better than they were placed. Brighton have been amazing, and you can't take that away from them.
Yeah, Brighton
Like,
have had the
no
opposite of
doubt.
what they were having last season, right? At least statistically speaking. Like
Hmm.
this year, their XG numbers, like they've looked good. They've been pretty good. I haven't watched them much this year, honestly, but
They're outperforming their XG,
they're
like
outperforming their
compared to
XG. The
underperforming.
statistics are very impressive. The game results also,
Hmm.
they've grinded out results from where they might have not gotten full points. Like
Yeah,
the
it's been a good
Trossard
start.
88th minute goal that he scored, like that was a game they should not have won. Honestly speaking, I think against Wolves only. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah,
I'm not sure if it was Wolves, but yeah,
like
like it's the
they
luck
are like fourth
sometimes.
in the table or fifth in the table, so they are doing
Yeah,
great. Like they obviously, I think maybe this is the season where the like
the luck
I've
is on
always
their
not
side.
thought
Yeah.
I've always thought that Graham Potter is not as good as people think he is, and I was very skeptical on him. Maybe he's going to prove me wrong this year. Maybe this is just a good peak, and they might come back down to normal, come back down to earth after
They
a point.
beat Brentford 1-0, the
Yeah,
88th
Brentford,
minute,
yes.
90th minute. Yeah.
Brentford is a team that I would love to discuss because
Oh
oh
yeah,
my
even
god.
I would. I've seen their games. They've been amazing. It's
Oh,
especially that back
it's
line.
the Atlanta feeling, dude. Oh my god, I loved it. Like the rotations when you start doing now, when you start rotating, like Liverpool have smaller rotations. These guys
Hmm.
take rotation to a bit of a higher level. And Ivan Toney, like, wow, he's so good. He could do so much. Like he's so
I
versatile. He's
think
so
I think
impactful.
Brentford scored 4 goals in the Wolves' first half only. Only 2 of them counted, but he was amazing. His link up
Excellent.
with
Oh wow, what
Mbomo.
a player. He's so good to watch. Like I don't know if he's going to be able to maintain this. It's but
It's
the
very early
way
on in
he's
the season to say
and
it. Yeah, exactly.
the thing about him that is most impressive I found is that his willingness to move the ball and link up play and stuff like that. I thought this guy's going to go score as much as possible. I hadn't seen Brentford much before this year. But the thing with Ivan
Hmm.
Toney is his decision making is great. I'm a huge fan of how he makes his decisions. Like I've from what I've watched, very interesting to watch. The manager is great. The way this side rotates. Like if you're playing rotational football, I'm automatically on your side. I just love if the teams that do this kind of thing. That is why I started watching Leverkusen. They were doing rotations as well. That's why I love Atlanta because they do these things. Like when you're playing around with and like when you're when you're trying to implement some fascinating football philosophies, I'm always into watch. Like Leeds are a great example of a team that
Yeah,
do a lot of
Leeds
rotation with
are
their
one of the
players and
best
positions
teams
that
to
they make.
watch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even mind seeing them lose 3-0, but they'll give their all.
Yeah,
They'll be a great game.
there is
They'll
always fun
fight
to
till
be
the
had in
last
these
minute.
games. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
So yeah,
Brentford also, like
Brentford has
most of
done
the
it.
games you'll enjoy watching because they're trying to do something. Like just the fact that they're trying to do something that most teams are not capable of doing, that automatically just makes them a great thing to watch.
Hmm. Another team which has had a pretty decent start, barring the Aston Villa result, Everton. They've surprised me. Like the
Yeah,
Demari Gray
I did not
signing, he's
expect
been.
this. I did not expect this from
I
Everton.
did not expect
I
Rafa
thought they'll be
Benitez turning
stodgy
the
and
squad.
boring and uninteresting. Like I had no
Exactly.
expectations of Andros Townsend. I've never really been a huge fan. Like, but he's got that penchant for a long range shot and
Oh yeah,
scoring
he's
great goals. But I always thought that he's a bit overhyped, but he's doing well.
I
He's been pretty good
he's
for the
doing
Everton.
well, I
Demarai Gray
think, but
has been great for them.
I don't think Andre Townsend is like what a consistent player that they require. I think Demaire Gray has been great. Tukure has been
Yeah, yeah.
exceptional,
No, but
and then
that's the
even
thing.
DCL before he came.
Townsend doesn't have to be your goal scorer. He does a lot of things as well. Like he's doing a lot of the
Hmm.
work. The work that you have to put in. That's the thing. That's the thing with Benitez and this team. They are willing to put in the yards. That is very, very important. Because they know what the financial situation with the team is. You couldn't invest much in it, especially with the Hamas thing completely falling off. With the Ancelotti thing, that you would expect them to be reeling from the Ancelotti thing, but Benitez has picked up the
Hmm.
pieces well, and that is something that he has shown that he has a skill to do. Because of with Newcastle, that was his job. Just pick up the pieces and make something bearable out of it, and that is why
Yeah,
Newcastle
fair
fans
enough.
loved him. Like
Fair
he's
enough. I
just
think
producing out of what he's the cards that he's been played, and he's doing really well till now. Let's see how it goes.
I think the Aston Villa result was like more of a blip. Like they didn't have
Well,
Richarlison or
Leon
what
Bailey
we
just destroyed them, didn't he? In the 20 minutes he was on the
exactly.
pitch,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I
Like
think
he had an
that is one of the
exceptional
games that
performance.
when you feel right, like we didn't realize this before. Sometimes there are games, like at least I didn't realize this before, when the fans, that it's more than a 12th man. It's not just somebody who's pushing you on. Sometimes there's an ability with full stadiums and with a lot of crowds in the stadiums and with the euphoric fan base, they pull the ball into the net sometimes. I feel like
Exactly. Like
somehow or the
now,
other,
if
like,
you're watching the results and everything, you have to be careful whose home stadium it is. Like last year, it
yeah,
didn't
it is,
matter
yeah,
much.
exactly, like the
It's a very
energy of the
important factor
fans
this year.
brings the ball into the goal sometimes. Like there is that it's that's literally not, that's not exactly how it works in a
Yeah,
literal sense,
obviously, I
but
get the
like there is a
metaphor and everything.
psychological thing, right? Like there is that going on, like when the fans are pushing you on and egging you on, and sometimes the home result, when you're the home team, the result will break in your favor and you will get the goal you're looking for, just because the
Yeah,
fans also are willing you to do it. Like, and that is what
fair
I'm
enough.
loving about watching this season. That is why I'm so much more excited to watch football this year than last year, because like there is a magic to this game. There has always been a magic to sports with fans in them. Uh,
Oh,
like
obviously, especially football, the
it's
amount of fans, like 50,000, sixty
like
thousand
any
people
sport,
sitting
like
on
even
your stadium.
basketball, it becomes so much more beautiful to watch when you have the fans in the stadium and they're like like I was watching like one of the greatest moments in my opinion in basketball history. That is going to, I was watching Giannis in the NBA finals and the fans were there and they were back after so long, and it made it 100,000 times better. Like it was so much better to watch. Like this year when we will be watching the Champions League final, hopefully when the fans are in attendance and stuff like that, and when you're winning those games, when you're Premier League champions, like the atmosphere and the feeling of euphoria that will be there at that moment, like that's when you realize like how much this means and how amazing this sport in itself really is, and how the power that it has to bring us together. Like it's I'm loving this season, and the fact that the fans are there makes a huge difference in my opinion.
Fair enough. I think we should now get back to the teams which are clenching their claims to be in the top six, Arsenal and Spurs. So let's start off
Okay,
with
okay.
Spurs.
I don't know what
The
to talk
first
about
three
Spurs.
games,
I don't know
the
what to
first three
talk.
games, have you
Yeah, go
seen
ahead.
their games? I've
I
seen the Man
watched, yeah,
City game.
but I didn't watch the Man City one. I watched bits of the like the funny thing with me this year has been, right, like incidentally I've watched the worst halves of good games this year. Like
Oh,
the
jeez.
like Liverpool Crystal Palace, I watched the second half. I missed the first half. Tottenham Chelsea, I missed the first half. I watched the second half. Like
Hmm.
like the games in which the contest was really interesting and when the things were setting up, I watched I missed the first half, but I watched the second half. I've watched a lot of games with just single halves and stuff like that. So
That's good. But yeah,
that's
I
not
think
been great. Like I've been on the back end of uh, watching the poorer half. Like so it's been kind of unlucky, and
hmm,
so Tottenham I haven't watched a lot of. And when Son is not playing, I don't really want to watch Tottenham anyways. Like Son is the main
oh
reason I
yeah.
watch the team anyways. So
Yeah, so I think the first three results they grinded them out. Like
yeah.
they weren't exactly great. Like
Hmm.
they've barely had any goal targets and everything. Like, Son stepped in a while and everything.
Hmm.
Harry Kane has not found the start that people were looking for. And I
Nope.
think it should, like, it might be an impact for him not getting a go, or what do you say, move away and everything. He's still
Yeah.
not completely,
Well, he
happy and everything.
was unfit at the start of the season because of the preseason things that happened. So he was
Yeah.
always going to have a adaptation period during the season. Like he's going to get fit during the season.
Yeah, fair enough. And like, yeah, he's not been exactly the player they need. Dele Alli, who I thought is going to have an exceptional start and everything, he also hasn't hit the ground running and everything. They
He's been
barely
okay.
managed to.
He's been
He's
okay
all
though.
right. He's
He's
obviously this. He's showing that he's better and
better than the
everything. But yeah,
Mourinho time period at least. Let's give him
exactly.
that much credit. Yeah.
Obviously, I knew that
Yeah.
was going to happen. Like
Yeah.
that's the manager and everything. But like even against the game against Wolves, where they lit the two nil
Hmm.
leads, that they're still the bottling everything and still
Yeah.
there. And I'm not sure. Like the last two results, I think the Crystal Palace result, will it be fair to judge because they had a red card early on in the game, if I'm not wrong?
Nah, but like Chelsea held on against Liverpool. So, like United against
But
Young
you
Boys
have
also,
to
I don't think you can just excuse the result because of a red card. Like the Spurs one, I felt was an anomaly. Last year, remember when Manchester United lost to Spurs 6-1? That I felt was a freak
exactly.
incident. Like it just the way the
Yeah.
game was playing, right? It just felt like a freak incident. So I didn't
Hmm.
take too much from it. But maybe 3-0 against Crystal Palace are good. So maybe you're
Yeah.
right as well. Like I'm not 100% sold either way. I'm sitting in the middle
Plus,
right
I
now
think
on
it
that
was
particular
the
opinion.
Edwards, what do you say, impact when he came in the last 20 or
Yeah,
10
like
minutes
yeah,
where things just went haywire. So yeah,
yeah. When he was scoring at 980 xg per season or whatever the number.
yeah. Oh, what do you say? The Chelsea game, I don't think they would have won the game at any cost. Like I didn't see any other result than that, because like they weren't going to be able to stop Romelu Lukaku, and with the form Harry Kane and Son were, Harry Kane was in, I don't think they were going to get past the Chelsea defense line either. And
Hmm.
Thiago Silva put up another tremendous what do you say, performance. Like I didn't see him
Yeah.
performing that well. Like so that's there. So yeah,
Hmm.
I don't think I still think like I'm not sure how convinced I am with Spurs. I don't think they have I think they and Arsenal have
They are
a
not
similar
convincing at
problem
all.
where they're
That's the
finding
thing with
what's
Spurs. Like that's the thing. Like they are the least convincing team that we've discussed so far. Regardless,
yeah,
like
and
in good or in bad, like they're just so muddled, and you don't know what to expect from this team. Like I don't know what they're going to turn up with in the North London derby this weekend. Like I honestly I can't tell because what are they trying to do? Like I know what they're trying to do, what they're trying to achieve. Like Nuno is trying to adapt to the players a bit as well, but they are very much still a squad and a team in flux. Like in terms of finding their groove and in their footing in the league right now. Let's talk. Let's go to
talking
the other side. Let's talk about
yeah.
Arsenal. And okay, before that, I have a small like kind of like a exception thing I have to ask you. Where is
Sure.
Sergio Ramos? Is he playing for PSG? I haven't seen him in any of the squad. Is he playing?
He's injured as of now, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
Okay, great.
He's not
Good
fit.
thing.
And
Yeah.
and I think yeah,
That just
I
I
think
think
he
that
would
just
have got
justifies Spain not taking him to the Euros. Like if you look back, like good good decision they made and
yeah,
it worked for them. They were semi-finalists in that tournament. So
it worked for them. Yeah, fair
yeah.
enough. And yeah,
Yeah, no, just
getting back
I was just wondering. I didn't realize that I just realized that Ramos haven't seen Ramos play for PSG at all this year. So I thought I'll ask
yeah,
you.
yeah, like
Okay, let's
most
get
of their
back to topic.
signings.
Let's get back to Martin Odegaard and Thomas Partey in midfield. That access. Did you expect that? And did
Oh,
you expect it to work? Do you still expect it to
uh
work? I mean,
I think Thomas Partey is going to have a good season. I think he's also going to be the anchor of the team, as Mikel Arteta says. He should be the what do you say pivotal point, and I
hmm.
can see them playing a 4-1-4-1.
Yeah.
I think it can work with Partey being the pivot.
Honestly, I
Only
think
if
in big games also, do you really need to play Thomas Partey as a single anchor? Lokonga is pretty good. I liked whatever I've seen from him,
I've
but
liked
I liked a
Lokonga,
lot
but
of what I saw from Genduzi when he first came in. So yeah, I'm not the
yeah, see
greatest
the
judge of
thing
Arsenal
is,
midfielders. So
yeah, I guess I see that, but I think it wasn't that Gundozi was never a good bad player or anything. It was his attitude problems that
his
he had. He's
attitude
also
became a huge pain. Yeah, I
he's
think that
playing well
still
in
is a
France, if
problem.
I'm not wrong.
Hmm?
He's still playing well there in France.
Yeah, but the attitude thing will always come back to bite
It's
him
the
in the ass, I
attitude
believe.
play. It
If he
will.
has to
It'll
change that,
come
like
back.
even the way he plays, you can see that there is something there. Like he gets
Exactly.
too wound up and he gets too
Hot-headed
aggressive.
energy.
Like yeah.
Exactly. That's there. But yeah, Odegaard I've liked since the start of the season. He's a signing which I anyways preferred over Madison when I wrote my article
Yeah,
also. I thought it was the
yeah, yeah,
better
yeah.
buy. And that actually worked out. Like Madison hasn't been in form. And he's one of those players who goes out of form and he zones out and anything. But yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
exactly.
just
And
he's just not been able to get himself fit. I think like it's just, or maybe the
exactly.
pandemic hell doesn't help. Like some players have been affected. Like that's the thing. Like these kinds of things we won't realize until a couple of years down the line when people will actually start talking about the pandemic in the past. It's still not in the past, right? So we don't know what experiences, what things people have gone through during the pandemic, and especially for footballers when you're so much in the limelight and like you're so isolated as a person, especially because like you can't go out in public and just chill normally. Like you can't just have your
plus
normal life.
fair
So
enough. Plus the thing is which I like very much about Martin Odegaard is a player
mhm.
on loan put
Yeah.
his complete shift in the biggest game of our club, like the North London derby. He was
Hmm.
exceptional in that game, and that just made
Hmm.
me fall in love. Like, wow, we need this player. If he can
Hmm.
put up this shift while being a lone player, knowing the history of the club and knowing
Hmm.
how much this game means, like
Hmm.
for an Arsenal fan, even if you don't
Yeah,
having
yeah,
the
yeah.
best season, beating Spurs is a very big achievement. Like it's
Yeah.
not a very big
Why do you think
achievement.
I love Martial so much? He
So
scored his first goal against Liverpool. Like that's the biggest. Like automatically, it just makes you a hero in my eyes.
exactly, it
Like
just sits with you. It sits with
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think Arsenal's problem is now not in the midfield and not in the defense also. I think Gabriel and White is it's a decent partnership. It's the striking problem now. I'm not convinced with Aubameyang yet. Like he might have gotten that scrappy goal
Yeah.
against, what do you say? Was it Burnley or it was Norwich? I'm not sure. I think
I think
Burnley,
in
Odegaard
Norwich was the
scored.
one
Yeah,
he scored
Norwich.
at. Norwich, I think he
Yeah.
scored. Because I think Burnley was the free kick that Odegaard scored, no?
Yeah, Burnley was the free kick. That was brilliant and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But in those two games, they've not looked convincing attacking wise. Like, okay, defensively, okay, Ramsdale has been great. He's been vocal in the box. He's been a monster and everything.
Okay.
Gabriel and White is working also. Aubameyang is not working. And the worst part is they're not playing Lacazette. I think the game wasn't broadcasted, the Wimbledon versus Arsenal. Lacazette was great. And even throughout last season, it might
Yeah,
not
but the
be
thing is that Wimbledon also, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. Like,
oh yeah, obviously. I'm not saying the Wimbledon is the result to take it from. I'm taking it from the West Ham
no, I
results
like
and the stuff.
Lacazette as well. I get what
His link up play with the midfielders, he can drop back, he has a good partnership with Emil Smith Rowe on the pitch, with Saka and with Odegaard. They can pass around. Aubameyang sometimes zones out. Like either he's gonna have a great game where he scored 2 goals, or he'll have 5 touches throughout the game. If there's no in between, you won't ever, like, maybe in the recent games you've seen him put a slightly better shift than last time. But like even in big games,
but those kinds of things are also like, it depends on what environment you're in as well. Like Arsenal have been in flux for a long time. Like Aubameyang, look at it from Aubameyang's perspective. He's like, everything around me is burning. Like, why? What reason do I have to really care now? Like when me doing anything, like I'm talking about last season, not now. Like when everything was going.
Keep the mic closer.
Yeah, when everything was going downhill last year, like everything is around you is burning, and there's so much going on. Like you lose focus, you lose concentration also, right? Like you're like how do I deal with this pandemic is going on? There's so much things going on. Like I think
he had a lot of things on his
like
mind.
This is his chance. This is his chance. Like he has to figure this out now in the next couple of months, unless Mikel is like, okay, I think Lacazette makes more sense with this team, and Aubameyang becomes a bench player or whatever it is, like an impact sub.
Yeah, I think Aubameyang
like
will
that's
be
the thing.
sold.
Like you have to like more time. Like again, come back to that concept again. More time, more you need to give these guys time to figure out exactly what's the best way to deal with this particular situation. So
I would much rather see Lacazette start in the North London derby. Like even the last time where they benched Aubameyang because he was late or anything, they actually worked. And like, benching your captain and still putting up a great performance with the team you had and everything, it was actually a good thing. And I can see Lacazette doing this well this time also. Like Lacazette's goals in the North London derby have been amazing. Like even the time we lost, he had an absolute screamer last season or something. There's always those factors and everything. But yeah, I think I'd much rather start Lacazette. And yeah, I think Arsenal haven't been convincing. So they need to start scoring goals. Like they've created a lot of chances. There's no doubt. Like even against Burnley and Norwich, they just didn't convert them. And that's a worrying side. That makes me remind me of like a very shit version of Manchester City, to put it in that way, I guess.
Okay. So before we go, I think one last thing I want to discuss with you. I think Premier League, I don't think we need to discuss too much more. I think we'll get to more things as we go on. We know we haven't discussed all the teams, but I don't want to discuss it all in one go. And like before we go, I think we can start doing this weekly from now on. Let's just have a bit more of a deep dive, like have a 10-minute discussion on any team, any non-English team or non-Premier League team at least.
About this team. I really have to talk about Karim Benzema. I can't resist the duo of Karim Benzema.
Oh no! Wait! I was hoping we would do Barcelona today, but
oh yeah, you said that. Fair enough.
But no, we can delay that because you're wearing the jersey also. So fair enough.
Plus, I think
we'll do Barca next week then, because I really want to talk about Barcelona, and we'll discuss Real Madrid instead. Then let's have a 10-minute discussion on what Real Madrid are doing.
Comparatively, just to finish your point and everything.
Yeah.
Barcelona are much of a, what do you say, cliffhanger and everything.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things going on. That is why I want to discuss it. Like that is what's fascinating me about it. There are so many strings that we can pull at, right? Like there are so many different things that we have to discuss there. that is, I think that is why I'm saying that we like, that is why I think I think we should do this weekly, like have a deep dive into a club, like maybe research a bit before we come in, and like
Fair
this
enough. We can do
like
that.
we actually have a in-depth discussion on what's going on and how we think it should go forward. So this week, let's
Exactly.
start with Real Madrid. And
I don't think we need to have so much of a deep dive in Real Madrid because they're doing all right. I think
yeah,
Barcelona
no,
needs more
but we can
attention.
still discuss it, like why, because I don't like I just don't want us to be restricted to the Premier League. I want to discuss more
Fair
teams
enough.
around Europe and around the world maybe also. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. I
yeah,
get that. So
yeah.
talking about Real Madrid, they've gotten off to a great start. I think compared to last season, they're much more attacking side under Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Like Benzema has the best goals and assist ratio.
Yeah, I think
15 and
Benzema has
8 or
basically
16.
been the best striker this year, not whose first name is not Bob, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
best
fair
striker.
enough.
Like I think he's been better than Lukaku at this season.
I
And
think he's better than Lewandowski,
I
Haaland,
don't
as
think
of
he's better
now.
than
Like
Lewandowski. No,
as
I'm
of
not
now, he
going
is. I think
to. I'm not going to
talking
rank them.
about current form, I think
Yeah,
talking
no, but
about current form,
Lewandowski has been scoring like crazy. Like I don't know what other numbers you want. Like I think the
I'm not
current form
taking away.
number. Yeah, I know.
If you're
I'm
talking
just
about current
we
form,
can
I'll just
disagree,
give
right?
you
Like
the
we don't have
stats.
to we don't have to
Oh,
agree on this. I'm
obviously,
just you're just stating our points. Yeah, go ahead. Actually, I'll listen to your points.
obviously. So I'll just
Go.
like bring it up into perspective.
Hmm.
Benzema has 15 goals slash assists in 8 games.
Hmm.
Lewandowski has 8, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Haaland has 10, and
Hmm.
Lukaku is a bit low and everything. He's
Hmm.
adjusted to the Premier League. Fair enough.
Hmm.
Benzema, I'm not sure I can say carrying because Real Madrid are playing well, but I think he's showing his peak form right
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
Like he's showing that, okay, I am the leader of Real Madrid and this is
Yeah.
how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like he's showing Depay that you're nowhere close to me and everything. And like after Messi, I'm the
Yeah.
best player in the league. And he's showing that. And like
Hmm.
fair respect, because like even last season he did it. Like
Hmm.
even in a much less attacking side, he had
Hmm.
like 30 to 40 goal contributions for Real
It
Madrid.
wasn't a much less attacking side. I think it was a side that was very much dependent on Benzema to provide something. Like that's the thing, and Benzema is able to
Fair
do that.
enough.
That is the most
He
interesting
did
thing
that.
that I've realized about Benzema in the last couple of years. This guy is a complete forward. He can do a lot of things for you, and he is willing to do a lot of things for his team. Like like there are few players that I actually genuinely believe when they say I'm willing to do anything for my team. Benzema is one of those players.
Fair enough.
He is one of those
And
guys. So
fair enough.
go
And
ahead.
I think one more surprise, like okay, I expected Benzema to be good this season. Vinicius Junior, his finishing has finally come back. Like I won't say come back. I've never seen him be a good finisher.
He's
But
a
it's
young
finally
player,
come to
dude. Young Brazilian
Exactly.
player trying to adapt to the biggest club in the world. Yeah,
Fair
that
enough.
growing
Fair.
pains are always going to be there. Go ahead.
Yeah, obviously not taking anything away, but he's already doubled his total goals from last year. 5 right now, if I'm not wrong, 5 or
Yeah.
6, one of them. He has an assist. He's been exceptional. I think that's a really good thing because, like, you know, Benzema and Vinicius Jr. had that clash up last time out that I swear on my mother's life he's playing against us. And I think he's actually picked that up and the relationship has been fixed between those guys, which is a really good thing. But yeah, I think Edward Camavinga has put up great performances for Real Madrid in the short. Like he's been great in the games he's played. I think they're still like I spoke to a friend of mine who's a Real Madrid fan. I think they're still missing that Toni Kroos factor, like a leader and everything and stuff in the midfield.
Yeah, this is a squad in transition, anyways. Like they were, like it's
they're trying to blend in with the old and the new ones. You know, like there's Vinicius Junior,
I think
Camavinga,
no, I think
Valverde
they're just waiting for Mbappe. I think that's what more it felt like. Like Benzema is dragging them to the title at this moment. I feel like this team is not. I'm not like just if you look at the players and the on paper squad, like Real Madrid are not the best team on paper. Atletico Madrid are better on paper.
Fair enough.
But when you have a player like Benzema who's won so much, like that's the thing. That's the difference between Real Madrid and Atletico. Atletico's psychology has always been an underdog. That's how Simeone wants to function. He doesn't want the lead. He wants to be chasing. He wants to be hounding you. Like that's the pack of dogs, pack of wolves mentality that you have, right? Like no, people don't expect anything from us. They underestimate us, and then we go in for the kill. That's what we want to do. Real Madrid, on the other hand, and especially like players like Benzema and Modric and who's the keeper, Courtois, and like these guys who have won stuff and who have been winning stuff for a long time. they are more like they are much more in control of the situation. They know
Yeah,
how to
fair
lead,
enough.
they know how to be on top, and they know how to get you to the end. They know how to get you past and get you to the end. That is why I think Real Madrid at this moment, in my opinion, are favorites for La Liga. They
I
look,
agree with that. I think the only
yeah,
problem that they might have is the defense, which
yes, that is
might
always going to.
come back
It's
bite
it's
them.
it's a flawed squad. Yeah, it's a flawed squad.
It is. It's not a perfect squad, obviously,
Yeah,
but they're doing well, and if they
not
keep
even
up
a
with this
perfect
form, they
squad. It's
can.
a genuinely flawed squad. Like this is not a Champions League winning squad. This squad cannot
Oh
win the
yeah,
Champions League, in my opinion. Like it'll
I
it'll
don't
take
see
an
that happening
enormous
either.
stroke of like I don't want to call it luck, but
Luck
it's
and
going to
fixtures, yeah,
like it's going to be a very the probability of it, like the statistics. If I look at it, the numbers, like looking at how other teams are built, the chance of this Real Madrid squad actually making it to the top are much lesser than most teams. When Mbappe comes, the situation changes. That's a different situation. The squad might
yeah.
have
But
the
I think
flaws, but then they'll have two mercurial, completely game-changing players in their side.
fair
Two
enough.
is much better than one here. Like Luka Modric
Yeah.
is awesome, but Luka Modric as a game changer and completely like to change games, you need goals, right? You need people who
Plus, he'll
can,
be what, 36
and
next year,
yeah, the
37.
age and everything. Like there is so many factors. Like
You
Tony
can't
Cruz is
expect
also
him to
old
play each and
also.
every game.
You
Exactly.
can't
Yeah.
expect these guys to, but that's the thing with having Carlo Ancelotti on board. Like he'll get the best out of the players that he's given. Like that's the thing with Carlo. I think that is why they brought him in, because they knew it was a transition year, and who best to deal with a transition year than a guy who's give him the
Already
cards you
managed it.
want, he'll get you something out of it. He'll give you a best case scenario out of it. That's just
Fair
how the
enough. Fair enough.
coach functions. So,
And I think they do need a defender next year also because they will be getting Mbappe
well,
on
they
a
lost
free for
Varane.
like.
They basically lost one of the best centre back partnerships of the last decade, and obviously you're going to have to make additions to it. Like the financial situation has been a problem. Like Real Madrid don't really have that money, and whatever money they had, they were saving up for Mbappe. And like,
Hmm.
yeah, that's a whole other complete nonsense discussion, which will just blow my mind if we start having it. And so,
I just have this last question before we kind of end it today.
hmm,
Do
hmm,
you think PSG was smart to ask for 200 million when Real Madrid were giving a 180, or
hmm.
was it a dumbass move?
I thought PSG should have sold Mbappe.
You thought
I
so?
personally thought, yeah. I
I
just
mean,
thought they could have done with like Messi, Neymar, and like build the squad. You can't build a squad around three players who are not going to give defense anything defensively. Man
hmm,
City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Juventus. I don't know. Let's put them aside. Italy. Let's put them aside for a
yeah.
bit. And like these teams are going to overrun you. These teams are going to destroy you if you don't have. You have to really. Going to be a very. This is going to be a very challenging tactical setup for Pochettino. The manager is not. I don't think the manager and the combination of players makes a lot of sense. Pochettino is a project manager. Pochettino is like Klopp. You can't give Klopp the stars of the world to build a team around. He's not a star maker. He's not a manager who will collect a team of stars and make them brilliant. No, he needs players who will do particular jobs for him. Pochettino is the same way. You can't give him
And
Messi and the combinations don't make enough sense for Pochettino to like. If Pochettino is capable of being a star maker, like making a group of stars be their best, then maybe yes. But I don't think Pochettino is that guy. So yeah, go ahead.
fair enough. Plus, I think even I have a similar, what do you say, opinion that maybe on paper,
It's
Messi,
200 million,
Mbappe,
man. Fucking
Neymar.
hell. Take 200 million. Why not? Like, for, I mean, yeah, I understand you have an infinite well of oil money coming into the club, and like, it's a joke, man. It's a fucking joke.
I guess the point of your thinking behind them is that Mbappe is much more worth than 200 million to PSG for a year. Like, like I get that, like maybe with Mbappe this year they might have a better chance on paper
I
to
don't
win the
know about
Champions
that.
League.
I think they should have sold
On
him. That's the
paper,
thing.
on
Yeah,
paper, I
on
kind of
paper. Yeah,
agree there because if
yeah,
you think about it and like the way the little
yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen
yeah.
with Messi, Mbappe, Neymar,
Hmm.
I don't see I see Messi and Neymar working together. That's been
Because
shown
we've
in
seen
history
that
past.
happen before, and
Exactly.
but the thing is, the third striker was very different to Mbappe. Very, very different. A striker
Hmm.
who was willing to put in the hard yards. That's literally what Suarez is
Exactly.
best at. He's going to put in that
Exactly.
graft, and Neymar is willing to do it as well. Even like, and Messi now is just, you can't expect him to do because He's just not there physically anymore at that level. But he was
Fair
never a
enough.
great
Like,
defensive player anyway. So
oh yeah, it was not his work rate appreciated on the defensive end anyway. So yeah, I guess that's it for today.
okay,
Do you have
but one
any
last thing.
final
Let's get
points?
back to Real Madrid and actually let's just finish this one off. Like
Fair enough.
we were talking about the
The defense.
squad, not even the defense, like just the squad in general. Like I wanted to talk a bit about the Atletico and Real Madrid, the battle there, like how it might, like how because squad wise Atletico are better. They have so many options. I think that's the problem with this year now. Atletico have too many options. Like with Griezmann also coming in, there are so like Joao Felix. What happened to Joao Felix, man? He's completely like he's just like I've been always been on the lookout for Joao Felix. Do well, please do well, do well. It's just not clicking by the looks of it right now. And now
Yeah.
that Griezmann has come in, there are so many options that they have. Like the Rodrigo de Paul transfer has been like bang on, perfect
Oh yeah,
transfer to
like
make. But they need that spark is not there. Suarez is not going to do what Suarez did last year. That's just not happening. Let's just be honest.
I think the hope is on Griezmann. Like if he picks up his form very left-footed,
Yeah,
what you said,
I hope
Atletico
so,
Madrid,
but
then
yeah,
they
I
have a
don't know.
chance.
It's
I don't
I
see
don't
that
know.
happening. Like
I can't. I think Real Madrid are better suited to the Champions League, like to the championship to win the league this year. I think Real
yeah,
Madrid are in a
same.
much better position. I think Real
I
Madrid should
think
actually be like, yeah, fuck the Champions League. After a point, we'll be like, yeah, we focus on the league more. Like
I
we
think
play
even
our players.
Griezmann is I think even Griezmann is past his prime, and I don't see him returning to anywhere close to the form he had
He's
at
just
Atletico
30,
Madrid.
man. That's so bad. Like that's such a. We saw him at the World Cup. He was so good. He was so good. And now, like 3 years on from that, like the
He's
suggestion that
completely
he's
lost
past
it.
his prime, it's such a saddening thought. Like, isn't it? Like, just
It is,
he was
but you
so
know,
good. Yeah.
like the 2 years at Barcelona, it might have caused a lot of damage, and you
Oh,
have to agree with that.
definitely has caused a lot of damage. That's irrefutable. Like there is no like what has it not damaged? Like the Barca, the Bartomeu end of the reign and everything. Tell me one thing that it did not damage for that club. Like that is what like that. Those are the strings I wanted to pull at with Barcelona. Let's not go there. We'll do that next week.
We'll go there next time then.
Yeah, because
Perfect.
like I want to have that in-depth discussion about this club and I want to talk
All
about
right.
that is why I don't want to do it now. So we'll do it next week. And on that note, on that miserable note for Antoine Griezmann, like let us finish this and please follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, the PL Report Football page, and follow us individually as well if you wish. Like I am not very active on social media anyway, so I don't know if it makes any sense for you to follow. And yeah, like just keep up with the. Let's just we'll try and keep up more frequently with what's going on in the football world and especially the Premier League. And yeah, that's it for today. And thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.